Hey, board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with another unboxing. This time a game from 25th Century Games that came out this year called Jurassic Parts. Designed by Kevin Lanzing with art by Andrew Bosley. Plays 2 to 4 people in about 20 minutes. Our first play took a little bit longer than that as we're going through the rules. Hey, let's dig in and find out what's in the box.
All right, let's get inside the box of Jurassic Parts from 25th Century Games. It's designed by Kevin Lanzing. It's got art from Andrew Bosley. Plays from 2 to 5 people. Takes about a half hour. It says 20 to 45 minutes, but it takes about a half hour to play from what I've been told. Let's take a look inside. As you can see, it's got this cool cover with an archaeological theme. And of course, the nice pun, Jurassic Parts. All right, so first thing we got is a rule book. Jurassic Parks rule book. Looks sort of like a field guide, a leather-bound field guide. Oh, that's pretty cool. Talks about the components. Love that. Every company should have this. A nice pictorial of all of the components. And game setup, of course. What the game is all about. And the credits. Not bad. Perfect. The amber. Players are going to get the amber during the game, and they can use them. You can spin them to get additional actions. And let's see what else we got here. We got some cards, and we got the chisels. So this is a good time to talk about what this game is all about. Oh, love the amber. Amber with a mesquite in it. That should be familiar to anybody that's seen the Jurassic films from Steven Spielberg. All right, so what is this game all about? In Jurassic Parts, players are going to play these archaeological people like Dr. Barbara Murphy, Dr. Naomi Grant. Oh, that name sounds familiar. Dr. Malcolm Stone, of course. And as you can see, on the player's turns, it's sort of an area control. It's basically an area control game. It's a way to consider it. And these are the big chunky tiles that it comes with. Player's going to set out a big map of these tiles. These are nice and chunky and thick. Nice job, 25th Century. I like the way these look. They're double-sided. So on one side, you're going to see the area, the dig that we're doing, and the other side are going to be the bones. What are we trying to do? We're trying to put out our colored chisels. Each player is going to get a set of chisels, and they'll start on their turn with chisels that are, most of them are going to be on the dull side, but each turn you'll be able to move, I think it's 3 onto the sharpened side. And then you can use those chisels to place out onto the board. The board is going to be made up of all these hex tiles. As you can see with these hex tiles, well, not that one, of course, not that one. So we've got a couple here. Let's flip these over here. As the board is going to be made up of all these tiles, and there's a ton. I mean, you can see all of the ones they have here. But as you have all these tiles laid out, we'll put the chisels, wherever you want to put them out on the board. Now, obviously, in the real game, the board's going to be a lot bigger, but as players put out these chisels, they'll put them in between the 2 tiles like that, right? One chisel will go anywhere between 2 tiles that there aren't any stones. If there are stones there, then it's going to take one of these out of your sharpened chisels, and you have to discard the other one. So it'll take 2. If it looked like this and there's 2, then it would take you 3 chisels all total, unless you had a special power, and there are special powers in the game that can be used either with the amber or with other things to avoid those rocks. But once the players have it set to where there's a break off, in other words, a complete division between a set of tiles, then that tile or set of tiles are broken off. And that smaller one is then going to be divided by the number of chisels that are left. That's where the area control comes into play. So in this case, and it's always rounded up, in this case, the red player, which has more chisels than the other player, would get all of the tiles. Let's say there's 5 tiles. The red player would get 3. Then the yellow player would get the remainder. Unless there's more players connecting, it would just keep doing that, rounded up, half rounded up as we go through. Then, now we've got the tiles. So let's say red gets these tiles here. Yellow gets this tile here. The tiles, as you can see, have bones on them. And that's what's cool. In addition to those player cards, each player is going to get this nice handy dandy cheat sheet. And if you can connect these bones, that's what we're trying to do. We're archaeologists and we're trying to make these dinosaur recreations out of these fossils and these bones we find in the archaeological dig. And each one of them is worth a different amount of points. From the lowly pterodactyl, only worth 1 point, over to the triceratops, 7 points. A big giant T-Rex worth 10 points. It's really cool art here. I mean, it actually looks like an archaeological dig or something that somebody would draw. And it carries to the theming all over. This is the back of those player guides that I showed you. Look at how it looks like a beautiful leather field guide, just like the rule book has with the logo. And then on the back side of each player character, there's Dr. Malcolm Stone. Look how that is. It looks like his personal journal. It's got his picture and then a little fluff about him. But if you look on the bottom, you can see that there's also, it's got the turn order on the upper right-hand corner. Love when it does that. Makes it so easy. You sharpen your 3 chisels. In other words, take some of the ones that were dull and move them over to the sharpened side. Then you play the chisels. That's by bringing them out there on the tiles. Yeah, so let's take a look at that last part, the field leader. And notice it says in any order. And I checked the rules on that. Again, this is just a high-level overview. This is not a how to play the game because we're just breaking this open right in front of your eyes. But you can see that during your turn, you can conduct, quote, business with the field leader. And that's before, while you're doing the chisels, or even after you use your chisels. And what does that mean? You're going to be spinning that amber, that beautiful, thick amber. Love these plastic pieces. And you'll be spinning those for all these special cool actions. Hey, maybe you spin an amber, and the next 2 chisels, you don't have to worry about those rocks that we showed you earlier. You can just ignore them. Or maybe you spin some amber to sharpen 2 additional chisels. Maybe you grab a fossil tile from any slab. Or you take a fossil tile from the field leader. So you can see that getting that amber is going to be worth it. Now remember, it's not cheap. Those actions will cost 1 for the first one, but it gets increasingly more expensive the more those actions that you try to do. All right, there's one last thing to cover. We talked about some cards, so let's take a look at the cards now. The game comes with these optional for play resource cards. Each card can be used once unless it says otherwise, and of course each one of them has very thematic elements. So the backpack, obviously the backpack, it's going to stay in play and you can carry more chisels. Every good archaeologist needs a microscope to take a look at things. It gives you bonus amber when you complete the bigger dinosaurs. No self-respecting archaeologist is going to go on a dig unless they're working on something. A doctoral thesis, maybe? Move one of your chisels to new locations, ignoring rocks. Wow. Put out some of your chisels and then use your doctoral thesis to scamper around the board, trying to horn in when someone else is about to break it up. So you can see these are fun little elements. I think that if I played it, I would always want to play with these cards. And I love the artwork. It's very, very thematic. All right, the tiles are all gone and the rule book has a handy dandy cheat sheet for you when it's time to end the game. So all the tiles have been claimed. That triggers the end of the game. And then you'll do your scoring. You'll score, of course, for the completed dinosaurs. If you can get these tiles lined up, they'll give you the big points that we showed on the sheet, or even the incomplete ones are still going to give you a point for any of the tiles. Collecting amber, of course, is important, so you'll get a point for all of those. And the plants. We didn't talk about the plants because we were so focused on the dinosaurs, but if you notice, some of the tiles have fossilized plants on them. The more you collect of those, the more victory points you can get, all the way up to 35 points if somehow you can get 10 tiles.
All right, so that's Jurassic Parts. We want to thank 25th Century Games for sending us a copy. We've taken a look inside the box, and over the next couple of weeks, we hope to get some plays in and get a review out. Have you played it? If you have, leave us a comment in the comments below. And until next time, laissez les bon temps rouler.